10 minutes. This is the Heartland's #1 news, the Channel 6 News 10 at 10.
What do you think? Is this art or something else? The public debate it has sparked is happening tonight. Thanks for staying up late with us. I'm Barbara Vaughan. This is the Channel 6 News with 10 nonstop minutes of news, no-wait weather, and lead-off sports. What would you think if you turned on your television and saw someone rubbing raw liver on her face? It happened right here in Omaha on Cox Cable's public access Channel 23. As Jim Fagan reports, it's generating a lot of complaints.
The young woman with the orange hair is Amy Butler, a regular contributor on public access TV. Last week's show lit up the phones with complaints to Cox Cable, City Hall, and to us. There she was, cutting up what looked like eyeballs.
At first I thought maybe it was people doing Satanism.
Fearing those in the video, she asked us not to identify her.
Then I just thought it was some kids that were really into murder and stuff. The girl was getting aroused by rubbing the liver on her.
This is not a devil worshiper. She looks a little offbeat, but that's as far as it goes.
Howard Swain, Cox Cable's public access manager, showed us the half-hour video.
Yeah, this is offbeat. Yeah, this is avant-garde. As much as it may not be everybody's thing, if Amy wants to cut up and play with liver...
There she is.
Yeah. What are we to say?
There should be some kind of moral standards. You know, it's not right for them to go around and rub blood and stuff all over themselves. That's just not right.
They can't censor contributors. There is a program code that prohibits things like sexual activity, nudity, foul language, and this did not violate it. Weird, yes, but apparently their idea of art. I wasn't able to contact Amy to see what the meaning of her art is. I was able to determine that with the exception of the grocery store calf's liver, the other props were fake. The eyes were rubber balls, and the blood, well, chocolate syrup. With photographer Eric Wall, Jim Fagan, Channel 6 News.
Howard Swain says 99% of public access Channel 23 is serious and religious programming. The rest is creativity. Swain encourages anyone with an interest to get involved. It's free and open to anyone. It can only be described as a wild night. A man pulls a knife at a strip bar, then threatens police. The story begins our look around the world. The Heartland. Police followed the man here to 54th and Layton in Lincoln. Several blocks were cordoned off early this morning after he started shooting in the neighborhood. Police say the standoff began when he pulled a knife after being refused service at BJ's Hideaway north of Lincoln. He then led officers here, hitting several cruisers with bullets before finally giving himself up.
While he was on the telephone, he was advising that he was going to shoot somebody, that the police needed to get away, and a very volatile situation.
No one was hurt. Police arrested 41-year-old Bobby Olinger at the scene. He faces several felony charges. A couple of fires overnight also kept emergency crews busy in the capital city. In this first one, the smoke was thick when firefighters arrived about midnight. The wood frame home near 23rd and Vine was heavily damaged. 2 men inside made it out safely. Shortly before, firefighters put out a fire in an apartment in Lincoln's near South neighborhood. Fire started in and was confined to the kitchen of a second-story apartment. No one was injured. Today really is Super Bowl Sunday, and I'm not talking about football. I'm talking about actual cans of soup. About 100 kids from Temple, Israel donated those cans of soup to the St. Vincent de Paul shelter. The food will be heated and served to others who aren't as fortunate.
Sometimes they can't enjoy all the stuff we have, so they can enjoy some things.
Organizers say the Super Bowl Sunday donations are a way to teach kids the importance of helping others. A multimillionaire is in jail tonight, the result of a 48-hour standoff with police. The story leads our look around America. Here he is arriving at a Pennsylvania jail. John DuPont is the heir to his family's chemical fortune. Police captured him at his Philadelphia estate after he held them at bay all weekend. DuPont is accused of shooting and killing wrestler David Schultz. The victim's widow says she's glad this part of their ordeal is over.
While I have no idea why John committed the senseless and brutal killing of my husband, I am confident that the police and the authorities will conduct a thorough investigation and bring him to justice.
Police say they're not sure what prompted the shooting either. Schultz was a wrestling coach at DuPont's private training center. A mobile crime laboratory is parked in front of an unlikely site, a convent in Maine. Police say Mark Beashard went on a vicious rampage here last night, stabbing and beating 4 nuns. 2 have died, 2 others are in the hospital. Investigators are searching for any clues that might lead them to a motive. Beashard does have a history of mental problems. He is charged with murder. In San Diego, one of 2 Siamese twins is fighting for her life. The 2 underwent surgery yesterday to separate them at the heart and liver. Only Sarah survived. She's in critical but stable condition. Her stay is being taken care of by the hospital. Her parents don't have enough money to pay the tab, which tops more than $100,000. An international call to end nuclear testing tops our look around the world. Several government leaders are lodging formal protests against France. The country set off a 6th nuclear blast in the South Pacific yesterday. The French government won't say whether it will be the last. Continuing our look around the world, a tearful reunion in Bosnia. Hugs, kisses, joy. Prisoners of war free, seeing their families once again. It's all part of the peace process in the Balkans. 74 prisoners were released today by the Bosnian Serbs, but the ordeal is far from over for others. The Red Cross says many prisoners are still being held. Before we check in with meteorologist Don Moldenhauer for no-wait weather, a progress report on the cleanup to our east. Here's a good way to get around: a riding snowblower. Probably the best way to cut through the 13 inches of snow in Des Moines. Others are stuck digging out the old-fashioned way with a shovel. And Don, it's getting colder outside tonight. Should we keep our shovels handy?
Barbara, I wouldn't worry about the shovels, but I'd try and find something warm to wear for tomorrow. Arctic cold front blasted on through. We had some brief near whiteout conditions this evening, but the snow showers are moving off to the east. The clouds will break up later, and I'm expecting a low temperature close to 4 below 0 tonight. Morning drive about 2 below, a little bit of sunshine, and for the evening drive, more clouds will drift in, with temperatures only topping out around 10 degrees. The cold air is here to stay. More on that in just a little bit, but let's check in now with Dave Weber for Leadoff Sports.
Thanks, Don. As you saw on Channel 6, the Dallas Cowboys won the Super Bowl, but not the way most people thought they would. It took 2 big interceptions for the Dallas Cowboys to win the ballgame. 2 unexplained interceptions. Neil O'Donnell threw both of them, and Larry Brown intercepted both of them. Emmitt Smith scored touchdowns after both interceptions. Dallas went on to win 27-17. I'll have more highlights and lots more sports later on. Barb?
All right. A heartbreaker of a couple of passes there, huh?
Some people's hearts were broken, I'm afraid.
Yeah, thanks. Heartland School celebrates its 20th anniversary by saying goodbye to one of its own. A special farewell is tonight's people. Sarah H. Joslin Elementary School opened its classrooms 20 years ago today, and though it's celebrating, it's also a sad day. The only principal the school's ever had retires after this year.
It's bittersweet, believe me. It's one of those things, you're up one day and then you're thinking the next day, oh my goodness, what am I going to do without this job? As you can see, this is a wonderful community, and I've had a great 20 years.
When her work is done, Sandra Pistone says she'll spend time with her family, especially the grandkids. We still have 20 more minutes ahead of us, including Sunday Sports Extra. Coming up, Ross tells us about the shots between nationally ranked Kansas and the Huskers. Next in News Extra, the stunning, time-stopping sight we simply couldn't believe. How far have we come since the Challenger tragedy?
You're watching the Heartland's #1 news with Barbara Vaughan. Weather with meteorologist Don Moldenhauer. And sports with John Chapman. This is the Channel 6 News at 10. School sports, college sports, Heartland sports.
If you want to know the score, get with the program. Sunday Sports Extra.
Sunday nights at 10:35, only on Channel 6.
I'm with it. Well, tax time is nearly upon us. Wouldn't that just special? Now, who in the world would have thought of such a thing as taxes? Let me think, who could it be? Our forefathers? I don't think so. Perhaps Satan? Luckily, I've been saved by Paul Gerber Auto Sales. I'll give them my W-2, a piece of ID, and they'll file my taxes for me. And if I put at least $500 down in a car, Paul Gerber will pay my filing fee. Well, isn't he just convenient? Happy to spread the word. Paul Gerber Auto Sales, 3423 North 72nd Street.
Introducing Reliance STS, the seed and herbicide system that gives you a 35-day window after planting and zero crop stress. DuPont Reliance STS, the seed, the herbicide, the system.
What you're hearing is silence. What you're seeing is the 73 seconds of silence observed during this memorial ceremony at Kennedy Space Center. That's how long the Space Shuttle Challenger was in the air before it blew up, right before our very eyes, January 28, 1986. It has been 10 years since the 7 crew members died. If you are old enough to remember that day, it was a terrible, memorable moment in history. In tonight's News Extra, a look back at the disaster and the legacy of the Challenger astronauts. Clearly, we remember most how they died, but Challenger's astronauts deserve more on this anniversary. It has been 10 years.
Big smiles today.
Crew and country smiled that day.
Krista Masala, teacher in space.
The Challenger 7 reached for a chilly January sky, like joy back at McAuliffe School in New Hampshire.
Challenger, go and throttle up.
And then, in one awful instant, disaster.
Obviously a major malfunction.
Debris streaked the skies like tears. It was a moment, a feeling, seared in memory.
Vehicle apparently exploded, and that impact in the water.
My whole body blew up inside when I saw that.
We will never forget them. The crew of the Space Shuttle Challenger slipped the surly bonds of Earth to touch the face of God.
10 years later, Challenger touches the face of tomorrow. In Challenger centers, space playgrounds for children, 30 of them across America, inspired by the Challenger families.
Crew would have never wanted sympathy. They would have said, we must go on. We must go on.
And on NASA went after soul-searching, second-guessing, and safety changes. In the last 10 years, NASA has launched 50 shuttle missions. But critics challenge the agency's budget cuts, concerns about more lost lives. Jose Garcia, a NASA engineer for 30 years.
To me, they're undoing everything that was done after Challenger.
The agency denies that. Undeniable, a decade later, the Challenger legacy.
They had a dream and they went for it.
And they had that special grace. The Challenger crew was pulling us into the future, and we'll continue to follow them.
At the Super Bowl earlier, the Challenger crew was remembered with a flyover of F-16s. It was led by Captain Rich Scobie, the son of Dick Scobie, the Challenger's commander. Well, the temperatures plunged tonight. What about tomorrow? Don lets us know next.
It starts long before spring. For a lot of reasons, I have to make the right choices along the way. Because a successful harvest is more than hard work and a little luck. Finally, getting to this moment leaves me with a feeling that can't be explained. It can only be experienced.
Are you looking for a Ford Explorer at a great price? Right now, choose from a great selection of pre-titled and brand new Ford Explorers from just $99.50. Choose from XLs, XLTs, Eddie Bauers, even the absolutely loaded Limiteds. Charlie Deer's fantastic selection gives you a great price from only $99.50. Why waste time shopping around? Come to Nebraska's #1 satisfaction dealer, where Nebraska buys more cars, trucks, and minivans for less. Charlie Deer's Ford Lincoln Mercury in Fremont, USA.
Iowa's electric cooperatives deliver the power for progress.
We need a reliable source of electricity in everything we do. Our computers, our compressors, our machines, our cleaning equipment. If we don't have electricity, we're at a standstill. Electric co-ops provide us with excellent service, economical rates, and they are an outstanding supporter of industry.
Business development feeds progress, and Iowa's member-owned electric cooperative is the power behind business, the power for progress.
Channel 6 weather is sponsored by Osco. At Osco, you can count on people who care.
Sometimes we get people in the store that are sick, but they don't really need a prescription filled. They just need help figuring out what they do need or how to use it once they've got it. Ask any question they want, and I'll be happy to help them. It's important to get them out quick so that they can get home and start the healing process. What I feel within my heart is that you really shouldn't need a prescription to get help from a pharmacist.
At Osco, you can count on people who care.
Next week on Today, meet all your friends. Matt Lauer begins a special series with the cast of the hit TV show. They'll be there for you starting next week on Today.
All I know is I went outside and all of a sudden it was very cold and very windy.
I told you the wind was going to come up, but it really came up.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we dropped 20 degrees in about 2 hours here as this front came through, and some whiteout conditions at times were reported.
So what do we have in store for us tonight?
Well, the cold air is going to stick around. Most of the snow showers, though, are moving off to the east of us. Here's a look at those snow showers. They developed right along this front out in the central part of Nebraska this afternoon. This loop runs from 5 o'clock up to the current time, and you can see just how rapidly this all moved along to the east, with, again, some brief whiteout conditions reported from some of these heavier snow showers as they move through. Here in the metro, we just saw a dusting of snow from these snow showers. Lots of wind with the front. This is a plot from the Channel 6 viewer net. We started earlier in the day with the wind speeds, and you can see they're pretty flat. But if you look when that front came through, look how we just spiked the wind gauge here, with winds gusting up to 47 miles per hour here at Channel 6 at about 9:30 tonight. Currently, we've got some pretty strong winds sticking around, not quite 47, but up around 20 miles per hour. Temperatures are falling rapidly. We are at 9 degrees right now. You can see them flip-flopping back and forth here as the instruments adjust. Those winds combined with those temperatures create wind chills of about 30 degrees below zero. Here's a look at temperatures around the area. 10 degrees in the Bluffs, 12 in Millard, 14 in Bellevue, and 9 in Lincoln. On the almanac, 39 was the high. We haven't reached the low yet, and we've had a trace of snowfall here in the metro. Sunrise tomorrow morning is at 7:38. High temperatures around the area today show the big contrast